What's up, Sushi Squad? We are back in sport. Patch notes. Yes, that's right. The Gunslinger Noscope patch is finally here. And I actually ran into a game-breaking bug right now where I can't use the loot collector, and then Inferno Blaze is letting me know that you have to update your loot collector mods. It's not going to affect any of you guys when this update ends up coming to console inevitably, which will hopefully be this month. Fingers crossed. But here's my speculation. Because this has happened in the past, right? I think that based on how small this update is, it probably is a small patch in the wake of something much, much bigger down the line. We've already heard hints and whispers from the developers that they've got something huge planned for this year, which I assume it's just going to be like U12 or something like that. But the point is that we might unfortunately see this update roll out on PC, and then they'll wait for the next big update so that they can put the Gunslinger update and the big update together on consoles. It might happen just because they've done that in the past, although that would be a darn shame. Now, the other thing too that's going to be kind of annoying with these patch notes is the devs did a little bit of an oopsie here, where they didn't give us the beforehand numbers. So this whole update mostly focuses on reworking the Gunslinger or overhauling the Gunslinger, or more specifically, just increasing the numbers of the Gunslinger. It's a very, very lukewarm update that not too many people are excited about. Even Gunslinger mains are just kind of like, that's it. But the point is that, like, take for example, basic attack shoots an energy projectile towards foes, dealing 165% magic damage. What was the damage beforehand? Devs, you can't keep doing this. We do not have access to the dev code where we can see what the damage was beforehand. So this number is superfluous. It doesn't matter. It doesn't mean anything to me because I don't know what the damage was before. And I already ended up doing my damage, old Gunslinger versus new Gunslinger on the test server. I don't feel like doing that again just because of the fact that the devs ended up making a mess up. So with that said, excuse the rant. I'm just letting you guys know before we get into it, because I'm just going to read the patch notes verbatim, and I'm not going to try and figure out like what the Gunslinger's stats used to be. The short response that I can give you is the Gunslinger viable now? Yes, most definitely. It's not as good as Solarian or Boomeranger and other boss killers as far as I've seen, but it is still fairly new, and you still can use it for boss killing at the very least. So Gunslinger mains rejoice that you can even play the class. So anyways, the passive, Lucky Shot. So while in the air, damage dealt to enemies decreases the speed of the Gunslinger's descent. The dealing damage has a 20% chance to cause the next charged sniper shot to be full power without any charging attack, which is going to end up being your right-click attack. Okay, cool. And then the basic attack, so shoots an energy projectile that deals 165% magic damage. I'm assuming that that is one of the new mounts Multi's got, which we'll end up talking about that a little bit later. So another thing too I gotta mention is that they made it so that when we do use our number one, if it would ever work, the slow fall is slightly different because it now works the same as you descend in water. So they changed the physics of that a little bit. And then more importantly, again, if it would ever work, our club world is so broken, dude. Look at our club world. This video game is broken. If we roll, it will cancel the flight. So that's kind of handy for just farming stuff. So anyways, the primary charge shot, or charged sniper shot, they renamed it. Hold the charge shot to increase the damage and radius. So at charge level 1, it does 200% damage. At charge level 2, it's 350% damage and 175% magic damage in the area around them. So area of effect damage. And then at maximum charge shot, it deals 950% magic damage. And then all the targets within the AoE will take 350% damage. It'll also end up applying a debuff that increases damage done to the target by 10% for 10 seconds. When the targets are below 35% HP, it will do additional damage of 750% magic damage. So Gunslinger might be good. That 10% damage might be good for like boss killing groups, but I mean, we'll just kind of have to wait and see. Do we got a new pack in the store at all? No, we do not. And then they've got the secondary blast jump, which launches the gunslinger into the air, dealing 600% magic damage to all nearby enemies, and the slow fall for 3.25 seconds. Dodging will cancel the slow fall effect. The ultimate run and gun, this is without the class gem ability, increases the gunslinger's movement speed by 20 and attack speed by 75%, and allows gunslinger to run full speed while attacking. So that would more than likely be how you would have to build the gunslinger if you're trying to use it for speed farming, is you would just not end up using the class gem ability, right? But with the class gem, run and gun now decreases your attack speed by 25%, but all shots fired are explosive damage, dealing 400% magic damage to the target and 375% damage in an area effect around them. So again, without knowing what the previous numbers were, that's just useless information. Anyways, hub merchant improvements. So this is where we get into the quality of life aspect of this update, which is actually pretty dang good. It ended up changing it so that a lot of the merchants and a lot of their resources and stuff in their shops are a lot better. They changed it so that a lot of these things, rather than just saying, press this for the adventure pole, you can now interact with it and it'll bring up the appropriate menu, right? So that's kind of nice. Also, summer. Or is this supposed to be the spring hub? Either way, it's still winter here. So anyways, items on merchants that restock will now show if they restock and display frequency with the restocking. So let's just take this merchant, for example. You can see resets every day. Okay, cool. Things like Luxian and so on and so forth, like you can see now it says resets on this time, and you know, we would be able to see like Caruxian and junk, like when their stock resupplies and everything. So pretty good. I don't know if, I don't know how it's going to end up working if they have it all coded correctly. It's probably going to say the wrong thing, honestly speaking, just because that one specifically says it'll restock March 2nd, right? Which to me is questionable, because doesn't that mean that they have to manually code when these are going to restock for the entire, like, calendar? It just, I don't know. Hello, weird NPC. Okay, anyways, the displayed currency of merchants will now change currency for the currency selected by the hovered. Oh my god. Okay, let's just explain that in English. So basically, not only do we have commas with all of the things that we're buying out of these guys, but you can see that we finally see astral echoes as a currency. Now, the reason why I'm talking with this NPC in particular is if it's your first time interacting with this guy, he will actually sell stuff for flux. And so the point is that if you ended up clicking on the flux cost item, it would change this currency to represent the flux cost. Whereas now when we're automatically collecting, you know, we're automatically clicking on these, which ends up showing the astral echoes cost. So that's very, very nice. Fixes a lot of things for a lot of these NPCs. They also changed it so that the currency displays of merchants now goes up to 10 digits, up from 6, and uses commas. Commas have additionally been added to the currency displays in the currency tab. There's also additional merchants scattered throughout the hub to make it easier for players to find some things that would otherwise be difficult in the store. So I'll kind of show you guys as a brief little example. We've got this guy over here. I haven't really wandered around too much to find the other NPCs, but this guy will quite literally show us store items, and that's what most of the other NPCs do, as far as I know, is they'll just show even more store items, but it's showing like a specific category within the store rather than just the store itself being like an unbewildering mess of like too many things. By the way, we've got sales on like a whole bunch of stuff in the cash up. But anyways, they got like a whole bunch of different NPCs, including like a draconic browser. So this draconic dealer shows where dragon coins are and stuff. He's probably over in the dragon corner, blah, blah, blah. Anyways, we're on to additional changes. So this is where a lot of the nicer quality of life things will end up coming as well. But a lot of it is going to be very, very small, not even really worth mentioning, honestly, but whatever. So chocolate fish have been evicted from plasma fishing. So the Tuesday fishing bonus should now properly give extra plasma fish in plasma. I guess it was doing it in chocolate. I don't know. Players now have the option to compost all fish trophies instead of just one at a time, which was stupid. So I'm glad that they did that. The depths decorations, so nautical assembler, pond of power recipes, are now unlocked by the lure bubble of the pond of power to alleviate players accidentally getting stuck while learning about fishing. I guess, I don't know, I guess you would get stuck behind that. They've also changed it so that common orders from freshwater Fran now require 50 fish to complete. Uncommon orders require 15. Fishwater Fran's orders will now last 3 days instead of 18 hours. And Fat Catfish now loot collects for 2 selected canned food in addition to Glim. Reduce the Glim and Flux from Fat Catfish and Saltwater Swordfish from 3 to 1. So I don't know if that was a trick that people were doing. I'd heard that people were getting like tons and tons of stuff out of doing all the fishing stuff. So I don't know if that's what that was specifically, because I'll be real with you, I haven't really touched the fishing that much since the update because fishing is boring to me. Fixed an issue where the star chart was allowing extra jumps in coin challenges. That's hilarious. The minor star of luck and DYI in the constellations of gathering will now grant magic find correctly. I guess they didn't grant magic find before. The major star of rage and all upgrades to it now grant an outgoing damage increase. I guess that they weren't doing that before. I don't know, but either way, it means that the star chart is going to be slightly different, which means that I will probably have to take a quick peek at it just to see like what are the changes and so on and so forth. But they were talking about the rage, which I'm assuming is somewhere over in this side somewhere. I just assume. I don't really know. I haven't really been paying too much attention to it. Reset star chart. So it doesn't show that it's going to cost a key to reset. I wonder if they changed it so it doesn't cost a key. Anyways, so the minor star of knowledge and crit now grants critical hit. I guess it didn't before. Club presidents can remove their own ability to destroy the club world with bombs. That's really nice. The slash respawn command no longer works in delves. Instead, players will now be able to use slash delve start at the start of a delve before the boss has been spawned, and slash delve boss to teleport to the boss once it has been spawned. So they also removed the step in the tutorial that has players use a bomb. I don't know why. I guess because you could accidentally destroy them and then you would just be soft locked or something. I don't know. Players who participate in too many AFK Bomber Royale matches will be automatically blocked from playing Bomber Royale for a while. Now, this is interesting because by the way that they're explaining it, it has me worried that if you go into a match that's full of AFK people, you will be punished for that. I would assume that they're waiving this on the side of logic and instead are going to punish people for going in and AFKing for Bomber Royale. Honestly speaking, like, I understand the developers' need and desire to combat the bots that are going into Bomber Royale, but devs, let me just hit you with a bit of wake-up juice here. Nobody likes Bomber Royale, and the bots are literally carrying people through Bomber Royale, because if we don't have bots going into Bomber, it's very, very difficult to end up finding Bomber matches when you're not playing through prime hours, and even then, it's just very, very questionable that they would make this change. So some tool tips for objects in the hub now state their key bindings as the method to open rather than the interact button. Using the interact button will still work. Multiple collectibles and NPCs have had some very minor blueprint fixes. Rename some dragon eggs to be more consistent with their naming patterns. Fixed various typos in the star chart, canned fish, and sundered uplands. So that's nice that they ended up doing that. There's also 6 new Bonewalker dinosaur mounts that have been added to the game and can be found under the rare category in the collection. So there's going to end up being quite a few of them, which is kind of interesting. Let's hide collected, go to the rare tab, and you can see that a bunch of them are all here. And they do all seem to be tradable. They're very expensive right now, but that's just because this update was only out for like a day. I don't know why it's 40 mil, like, no thank you. Just no thank you. What the heck? These people are crazy, dude. So anyways, they mentioned where you can end up finding them as well, which is 2 can be looted from any creature within the primordial pit delve biome. Ew. 1 can be looted from the Tyrannosaurus Rex within the Jurassic Jungle biome in the Adventure World, which is probably that one that we saw multi with earlier. 1 can be looted from Skeletal Vikings, which appear in Cursed Vale biomes in Adventure Worlds. 1 can be looted from the Ashen Devourers found in the Ashen Wastes, which is the lower portion of the Sundered Uplands. And once these 5 mounts have been unlocked, a 6th can be obtained from the Fungi Thing Shapers in the Ashen Wastes, which is the lower part of Sundered Uplands again. That's interesting. I said it before on the test server, I'll say it again. I think that it's pretty cool that we kind of have a progression for the mounts, although I strongly disagree with the fact that this 6th mount is available within the same biome as one of the other mounts, because it means that I basically would just be wasting my time farming that biome for the 1 mount and then only after would end up being able to get the 6-mouth accessible, which I assume is going to end up being this one, which looks very lackluster and kind of stupid. So is it worth it? Probably not. Anyways, we've got 6 new Viking-themed pets have also been added to the rare spawn merchants. So this is going to be, where is it? I'd collected. So we've got quite a few of them, a bunch of swords and other different weapon type allies and stuff like that. They do seem to be tradable, which is pretty cool. These people are stupid. Don't buy them for that price, dude. Like, this update is too fresh. So anyways, they've set it up so that defeat 1 and 3-star dungeons in the following biomes for a chance to see the new merchants. So Treasure Isles, Permafrost, Candoria, and Jurassic Jungle. These merchants spawn very rarely upon completing dungeons in specific biomes. I question, where would the NPC spawn? Did they purposely set it up so that the NPC spawns at the dungeon chest once you open it? Because I would be very, very worried if the NPC spawns outside the dungeon, somewhere that I could easily miss it while I'm trying to speed farm. I don't know. If somebody can report in the comments, that would be great. So they say that they'll spawn very rarely from completing specific dungeons and specific biomes. Each player may only purchase the pets from these merchants once per week, and they can be traded or placed on the market. So basically just means that you know, these things are going to end up being extremely expensive at first, but as players continually play the game, they're going to end up becoming cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. So we've changed the way our chat reporting and spam features work, so please continue to report spammers as you see them. And they adjusted several trophy names and fixed a bunch of typos. And apparently that's it. There's not really anything else to this update, which is exactly why everyone calls it such a lackluster update. Now, that said, I'm still going to end up doing some streaming today and gonna be messing around with the Gunslinger so we can see its true power. As you can see, I'm not like fully maxed out or anything. Most of all, it's the fact that I'm lacking a really good crystal ring. But generally speaking, my Gunslinger is still 45k and almost maxed out, so we should end up having a pretty comparable damage test with the character. But that's gonna do it for me. I'm sorry that I didn't have a stream out yesterday. I just slept for like 24 hours for whatever reason. I don't know why. I just was like super tired, and then next thing I knew, it was the next day. So help me. Thanks for watching. Smash like for more. Buy the merch you want to support the channel. And have a wonderful day, ladies and gentlemen.